All right. Hi, this is our fourth episode, episode 4. And I have a guest with me today, Adrienne Harper of Bundles of Joy. Unfortunately, Khaki isn't able to be here today, so I have a solo episode and feeling like I'm still new to this.
I'm really, I love it.
Adrienne's a stand-in.
I always wanted to be one of the sisters, so here we go.
We're so happy to have you here
Thank
today. Khaki's very sad she couldn't make it, but I'm really excited to talk to Adrienne today, and I think that if you're listening to our fourth episode, you might be inspired and also just so impressed with the work that Adrienne is doing day in and day out. And for someone who founded a fleece clothing company, it warms my heart that we can work together and give back to our community and our local community and beyond. So without further ado, I will introduce Adrienne. Adrienne founded Bundles of Joy, which is a nonprofit based in Bronxville, New York. She founded it 8 years ago, 2017, and we go way back.
We do.
Which is so awesome. Adrienne and I met each other in, I think, 2018 at the Westchester Mall.
Yes.
Khaki and I and our mom, Bonnie, were hosting a trunk show. We were very lucky to get connected with the Simon Properties group, and they let us set up this huge trunk show in the food court at the Westchester Mall, and it was one of our first trunk shows, I think. And Adrienne came, and because maybe we found each other on Instagram.
I was a huge fan to begin with, so that's why I showed up.
And you were wearing Dudley Stevens,
and I was
like you
wearing
came.
It. We bought it.
Yes.
I mean, it was the first time you guys had it for the kids too,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So I got one for, then my daughter Sloan. So I was like, I have to be there because you couldn't buy in store at that time either.
That's right.
So
we were all online. And
this is way back when.
Yeah, in 2018. So we met then. And since then, we've supported Bundles of Joy through donations.
Yes.
Tons
of donations.
Lots of fleece.
We've been so generous. And it helps us so much because winter is the hardest for the children we serve.
Yes.
I mean, many kids don't have heating in their homes.
Yeah.
So it's warm clothing is a safety issue, really.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're going to talk a lot about what you do and the people you serve and your life as a, working mom and all of that. So I'd love for you to explain first your background, because I remember when we first met, just hearing what inspired you to start Bundles of Joy, and that you have experience in this world, I'm correct.
I do. All right. So I would say we should go way back when to college.
Yeah. Oh,
college. Wow. I have a master's in public administration.
Okay.
After that, I knew I wanted to do something that really created some sort of value that touched people and made their lives better. So there I was. I had a job in New York City for the Parks Department, and I worked for the largest welfare to work program in the entire country.
Okay.
So these are folks that are coming and working in New York City parks, and they're receiving job search skills and assistance, and I was the one who would place them in jobs. So I partnered with companies that would hire them, hospitals, things of that nature.
Amazing.
And so I worked with the adults who were, of course, seeking employment. And all I could think about was like, these moms and dads get to go home today and say, I got a job. And that is the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
So
life-changing.
That is life-changing for these families that, that I was working with at that time. So then, after that, my husband and I moved to Boston while he was pursuing his master's degree, and I was volunteering at an organization that did something so similar to what I do now.
Right.
And it's called Cradles to Crayons. And it's very big.
Yeah.
They're located in other cities as well. And I loved it. I was pregnant at the time with my first Sloan. I was like 7 months pregnant. And I was filling these orders at Cradles to Crayons and looking at the things that families were asking for. And they were the most basic of items that you and I would probably never think about needing.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was socks and baby wash and like just a warm coat.
Right.
And so these things are like heartbreaking to me, who I also have this, fully appointed nursery back at home.
Right.
And I'm like, my baby's not even here yet. I have oodles of support.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't even imagine.
Not being able to get a warm coat.
Right. Like you can't go
newborn.
outside. And this is Boston.
Yeah.
So
right.
It stuck with me that feeling stuck with me. And so then fast forward, I have this baby Sloan, and I am so humbled by motherhood and how hard it is.
Yes.
And I'm someone who's always been around babies. I used to work in a daycare. I used to babysit. Like I've seeked babies out because I love them so much. It's just like I gravitate toward them.
Yep.
And so I didn't think I'd have any issue.
Yeah.
I was like
this will be it so
right,
easy.
like
I got this.
If there's one thing I can, right? Oh no. So
That's
here
so
I
true.
was, so humbled by motherhood, also feeling what I didn't expect to experience, which was like this postpartum OCD anxiety that was just so crippling.
Yeah.
I was so arrogant that I flipped through those pages in what to expect when you're expecting about all the anxiety afterwards.
Yeah, you're like,
and I was like, this is not going to happen to me. Like those poor women who have to deal with that, but that won't be me.
Yeah. Like I have all the resources, so why would I have anxiety?
I'm good. I'm stoked about this. And no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyone can be affected by this, and more people than not are.
Yeah.
And so here I was, having the hardest time, a really dark time. And in the front of my mind was, well, if I can't do it, how do these families
that can't afford diapers,
who don't know where their next diaper is coming from, who are literally washing diapers in the bathroom, and reusing them, how are they doing it?
Right. Yeah.
And so I guess my mind went to all right, you're really feeling down on yourself, but imagine what someone else could be feeling.
Yes.
And so that was a helpful thought.
Yep.
In a sense, but it was also like an obsessive thought. And I was like, I got to do something. I can't get this out of my mind.
Yes.
And I have all these things here that someone could use
could
because my
benefit
baby just grew out of it after wearing it once.
And then what do I do with it?
What am I doing with this stuff? So that was really the model.
It's almost right. And like the entrepreneurship, like it, nonprofit, still a business, obviously.
Yes.
Like you had that burn and that desire and you couldn't let it go.
I had the energy and I was like, I have to do something about this.
And do you feel like it helped with, not helped, but like your own personal journey? Like it helped fulfill something that you felt like.
It was so selfish at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right?
And
you feel so selfish.
You're
actually,
like, I can do something to help someone else. And that makes me in turn feel good.
I have to do this, but also it's keeping me from obsessing about all the other stuff that could go wrong with my baby or what I'm doing. Like I didn't read all the parenting books, right?
Yeah.
So that was where it all started.
So
and then we
inspiring.
knew we were going to move to Westchester.
Right.
So then I go to the founder of Cradles to Crayons, who's a wonderful individual. And I told her what I wanted to do and how I was obsessed with her model and the way that she does things. And she was like, well, you could franchise Cradles to Crayons and do this where you're going, or you could be scrappy and do this on your own. Yeah. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. Like
I will be
do
scrappy.
It. Yeah.
And that's really how it all
amazing.
Started.
Yeah.
So I had this idea like before we moved here. I was like, this is what I'm doing.
Yes.
And then I happened to chat with a friend. Our little girls were in ballet together and she was like, what do you do? And I told her as if I was already doing it.
Right. That goes back to what Kaki and I always say.
You have to say you
tell
do
people,
it. Right. And so she was like, well, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great.
Yes.
What are you going to do? And she drove up and down the West Side Highway. She called all her mom groups.
Gosh.
She was like, this is what I'm doing. We're collecting donations. Give me what. And people in New York are like, get this stuff out
like
of my apartment.
Strollers,
right?
Or, like you grow out of the stroller and then this massive thing or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so she had this little Fiat and she packed
it
was like a clown car. Like she'd come back to Bronxville and we'd pull everything out and then we would just
donate. Just
one at a
whoever
time.
showed up, like who needed things.
I called a couple organizations, like, is there any, like, do you need these things? Can I make you some bundles? And they were like, yeah. And I'll never forget who those first people were.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
There's a major need. And
I was
people are
3 weeks postpartum with my second baby. And that's when I brought him to go deliver bundles.
Oh my God, that's
I'm like, I shouldn't even be out of my house right now.
Yeah.
Can't even walk to the
on a
bathroom,
mission.
Here I
you
am.
Can't let it go. Yeah. It's that entrepreneurship bug.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was like the best feeling.
And you were doing this out of your home, though.
I was doing it out of my home.
Yeah. bundling things up to donate to
and then
women in
collecting
need.
from all my friends. I'm like, I go to their house. I'm like, what do you have? Are you using that?
Yeah. You're like, I see you're not using that.
That sweater's a little small. Take that off. Take that off of her.
I know someone. I got someone who needs that.
So it was awesome. Like it was so grassroots,
so, right?
You know, in that sense of like,
which is how we also
I put a call out.
Still feel.
And
still
Instagram
feel.
at the time, of course, was perfect for that.
Yes,
it was about like it's a call to action.
Yeah.
People answer right away.
Yes. And people love to help too.
They do.
And people want to help. And sometimes we don't know where to go and like who to trust and like that it's getting done correctly.
So true.
And so that was why when we met you, I just felt so good that like you were a local mom. This was like a legit, thing where like we could like donate.
You see the people we're giving to. And I think that's what Instagram has done. Like this app is so powerful and does a lot of good for all the bad it can do.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other talk show. But like
exactly.
Sorry. But but it really it helped build this organization to what it is today now and help people connect to the mission in a way that they couldn't before.
Yeah.
And like I was on the front lines. People saw that.
Yeah.
And then they saw the donations that they had given me go directly to into the hands.
And
that
was
was like
outcome of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which with larger organizations, you might not see it.
At like a Salvation Army.
Right.
No offense to that. And they sell their things off.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So like that's a totally different model than what we do.
Yeah.
And so people loved that this was like a really
tangible,
pure, we give,
start
it goes,
to finish. Yeah.
And we
you
see
it. Yeah. I love that. So can you tell us who you serve and the areas and like mostly where the donations go?
Yes. So we receive, I'll talk about where we receive donations.
Yes.
Like any individual, you could walk into Bundles of Joy. You can give
Bronxville.
just like in Bronxville where we're located. We have a storefront location. And you can just bring in items that your child has used.
Got it.
Right?
Yep.
You can also bring new items, of course, but we take used items.
Nice. That's so nice.
So we check those for quality. Yep. And we always say quality is dignity. Like we make sure that if you wouldn't send your kid on the first day to school, we're not going to give it away because that's not going to bring any joy.
Yes, I know. Like there'll be like toys in our house that have fallen apart. And I'm like, no one wants this.
No, like I can't even find Marshall.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. So it needs to be a nice, like.
Definitely. And so, and then the question is like, then what do we do with those?
Yeah.
And we recycle those. Yes, we work with an organization that takes textiles and broken toys and they actually recycle them and turn them into like playground material.
Amazing. Yeah. I saw that bin at
which we love.
It's
always
showroom.
full.
Yeah. Yes.
We're very particular about what we do take, but no one should ever feel ashamed either of what they're giving. Because like my kids have stains all over their clothes.
Oh my gosh. I
know.
Who
doesn't?
I know.
I have one on my jacket
exactly.
right now.
We all do when we have kids. It's inevitable.
So all right. So that's how we get donations. We also get them from corporations like yourself. So you sent us fleece, blankets, things of that nature. We inventory and then we give those away to individuals and also like our partner organizations that we work with.
Yep.
And then in terms of who we give to, those are partner organizations, things like shelters, domestic violence shelters, social service agencies, legal aid society. They're often working with like foster children and things of that nature.
Wow.
Food pantries, like New York's most vulnerable is really what I like to call it.
Yes.
In addition to that, we are the only organization that will take people from off the street.
Wow. That can come in.
A mother in crisis.
That's amazing.
Right. Or a father in crisis because we have them as well.
Yep. And I've seen that, you've posted that too. Like sometimes a woman will show up in desperate need.
And they can't go anywhere else.
And they basically can go shopping in your
They can go shopping in our storefront. We build them a bundle and they walk out with what they need. And it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah. And I feel like where you're based in Westchester, you're how far away from Greenwich? A half an hour or less? Yeah. Like this area, there are so much in need, It's
such a
crazy.
Diverse, the income gap is the widest, I would say, in the nation.
Yes.
And I think that's why it's such a perfect place for Bundles of Joy to live because the model is reliant on those who have. Yeah. And then we find those who need. Yeah. So we're just the connector.
Right. Yes.
Right.
It's wonderful.
And so we're close enough, like, especially where Bronxville is, like we're very close to low income housing. Yeah. We're close to shelters. We're close to, or just an individual who can't make ends meet that month. Right. And they're allowed to come in.
Yeah. That's so great. Yeah. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Was there any moment in your journey of Bundles of Joy where you felt like like the biggest impact that you made, or like a big memory that sticks with you where you thought, wow, this is actually very impactful?
So I would say there's a lot. There's a lot of individuals, and that's why we will never stray from the model of letting individuals come in and not just giving to like a shelter who then they distribute.
Right.
I mean, that's impactful because they're giving to hundreds.
Yeah.
But getting to know the families is the thing that connects me to the mission.
Yes.
Personally. And also fulfills me. Like I feel so greedy almost. I'm
It's
like, bring
so
those babies
true.
in. Like
Yeah,
I gotta talk to you and like hear what's going on.
Yeah. Right. And then you have such an understanding of what is needed too for the masses, for other people too, when you do donate larger amounts.
It's like, so what is shelter life like?
Right.
Like what does your, studio in the shelter look like, so that I know what can fit in
what
there.
you can ask for, what you can seek.
You can't have that exerciser because it's so large.
Yeah.
Or like, for shelters, for example, we can't give certain cribs.
Right.
Like they have to have just like a porta crib.
Yep.
Or whatever. Like maybe it's really hard for them to carry like a multi-gallon detergent down,
right?
Because they don't have
laundry like accessible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like laundry sheets are amazing for that. Like we have to find these solutions, and I wouldn't know that.
No, unless you were speaking to them.
I was really like upfront and chatting, and also like it's a cliche, but like motherhood is the equalizer.
Yeah,
like I don't talk to the moms who come in as like a story, like tell me what's going,
right?
Like,
it's like a mom.
Oh my gosh,
you have a 2-month-old.
Yeah,
I
was up all night
sleeping.
too.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like we're all
It's
just moms, and like it transcends class,
all of that,
and race and everything. And it's like, here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And what can I do to help you?
Just two moms.
Yeah.
What do you need?
At the end of the day, we're all sleep deprived
so
and struggling,
true. And we're just trying to do our best.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I, think about all the time is like, everyone who comes in loves their children.
Yeah. Right.
And we can connect with that.
Yeah. And they're trying to do the best and make them the most comfortable that they can. And
Yeah. And I bet you remember too, like when your babies were little and like, they wouldn't use like a certain brand of pacifier.
Oh my.
Right.
You know what? I forgot about that until just now. And
And so like we have this.
You try everything.
And you're like, okay, I'm just going to order another from Amazon. So
look, it's so true.
The woman who works for me, Amanda, she's part of my team. I love her so much. She thinks about that. And she's like, well, I just packed them 5 different brands of Bankies just because I wasn't sure. And I'm like, you're so
that's
good.
Wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you
and then
for
they
doing
can give
that.
it to the next person
and then
or
they
whatever.
do. Everyone shares.
Clean it off and share.
Exactly.
That's so funny. I forgot about that. I remember doing that. I tried a lot of them, and both of my kids had different ones.
You're right.
Too.
Yeah. Boy.
Anyway, that's so great. So I would love to. I love quantifying things like, and if you're able to like round numbers of like how many people, people or things or whatever that you've reached out to and met or donated.
Sure. Okay. So I would say this past year, we've served over 10,000 children.
That is awesome.
Which is a lot. So we serve all of New York City as
just
well.
in
So
one
all
year.
the boroughs.
Yeah, right.
We serve Westchester, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are individuals.
Right.
So then we repeat our
So
clients.
that's a
This is
ton.
not like a one done situation.
Right. Oh, so it's a relationship.
So
then.
it's
You're
a
almost-
relationship. And that's why it's so great that we get to see people like graduate out.
Yeah. Right.
And we
Oh my
had
gosh,
a
that's
family
awesome.
recently who did that. And they were like, this is my last time coming here. And I just wanted to thank you for everything.
That is incredible.
And I cried.
Yeah, I was
I'm like,
gonna
but
say,
I'm going to
like,
miss
I would
you. Like,
cry.
I've seen this baby grow up.
Right. And now they're 8 or 7 or
Right?
however old. And that's so incredible.
And then you're so happy to see families like move out of, their shelter or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And no longer need your month-to-month assistance.
Yeah.
And
that's one day we came and helped pack bundles with you, and I loved that day, helping out and everything and just seeing how it operates. But we were packing bundles for women in domestic violence shelters.
DV shelters.
And giving them things to go on job interviews.
Yes.
It was like lipstick and like hand cream, like things that
Right,
just
like
might make her feel confident.
Items and
for those women.
And there's a
so
reason
great.
because so many times the feedback that we get is like, I didn't even feel human.
Right.
At that time in my life. Like it was so dark.
Yeah.
I escaped, from a horrible situation with the clothes on
and
our
children.
back with my baby.
Yeah. Yep.
We're living in this DV shelter like anonymously because you can't reach out to anyone when you're there.
No, right.
No one can know where you are.
No, right.
So you were supportless in that sense.
Yeah.
And
you have nothing.
I
you probably weren't able. Yeah, you weren't able to take anything. No.
So I needed, like, that made me feel like myself again.
Yeah. That's so amazing.
And that was so cool. We gave them the fleece. It was a great experience for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because the mom, as we know, we have to take care of ourselves. And so they are those moms that are doing everything they can and coming to you and other things and to give them something. I was so thankful we were able to give them a fleece and then the lipstick. Like, there's like all those little things
I love
to make
Valentine's
them feel
Day because
good.
it's about the moms that
it's about
holiday.
The mom. Yes, that was
and
Valentine's
like they
Day.
totally they need that.
Yes, that's so awesome. What's been your greatest surprise in running this? And I feel like maybe you've answered it in ways, but I love how you explained the beginning of your journey and that postpartum motherhood, and you had already had this experience. But what do you think's been the most surprising thing? Whether it's because your kids go to your storefront a lot. I feel like you have your children there.
They do.
Do they I can only imagine they see what you're doing and they as they're getting older and they're understanding.
They get it. They are probably desensitized to it now.
Right. It's just become an everyday thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you, Lauren. Actually. They don't love bundles of joy because a lot of their things go there.
Yeah.
I'm like, you haven't touched that. I see dust.
Yeah,
it's going.
Toy. I
right?
know.
So they have a different relationship with bundles of joy than other kids.
Yes. It's it's a journey for them.
It's a tough pill to swallow.
One day they will get it. One day they'll look back and be like, wow, that
now
was really
my
good.
10-year-old is like, wow.
Yeah.
This is
that's the
awesome.
age probably.
Because now she sees the little kids coming in.
Yes.
And she wants
to
help
them. What a lesson, though.
So she
so
loves
amazing.
it.
Yeah. That's so funny, though. I can see my daughter feeling like, wait, what?
Oh, they're so possessive of their things, right? It's embarrassing, actually. Sometimes.
They're still learning. They don't know how to share yet. They're still,
Can't do that to me. I'm Miss
That's
Bundles of Joy.
Funny. Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. But I feel like as they're growing and your 10-year-old, that's such a good, I don't know,
now
thing for them to look
they're
up
proud.
to.
Now they're proud of it, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually speaking to their school assembly next week because they're talking about generosity.
Yes.
So I'm going to go chat with the kids about that.
That's
and
so incredible.
Really, I think what is so surprising, to go back to your question, is how generous people are.
Yes. That makes me feel good.
And you were one of them. I'm really
Aww.
speaking to you as well.
That's
because
so lovely.
You really are one of, I am blown away. People ask me all the time, are you so sad working in this, in this field, because you see so much tragedy and heartache and need. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
Oh, I love that.
I am so
it's the opposite.
Inspired because I see all the good people that come in.
Right. That's incredible.
I see people who will step up for strangers.
Right.
There's a fire, in an apartment building full of kids, and I see people lugging
things to bring to this
stuff
family
to Bundles of Joy so we can sort it and give it to them.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And so I see all the very best.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I feel so entitled, and I live in this Bundles of Joy bubble.
Yeah.
Bubble.
Yeah. or bundle.
And even, especially the people who work for me.
Yeah. Right.
They're the best people ever.
Yeah. Yes.
And, I like living in this bubble.
Yeah.
And
it's a nice place to be.
It's such a selfish place to live.
No, but it's so
I don't want to
positive.
re-enter.
Yeah, I know. I know, and that's so. I love looking at it in that lens.
I love it.
That's so wonderful.
I see everyone going out of their way for strangers.
Yeah, right. And you guys have high school and college volunteers, right?
We do.
Yeah. So if anyone's listening in the area and you have a child that needs to volunteer for school, or you want them to volunteer,
we have so many service hours. And here's the thing, that people can volunteer in so many different ways. Yeah. And I have friends here in Greenwich too who will take one of our our donation boxes and put it in their nursery school.
Oh,
and it fills up in like, 2 days.
Yes. Incredible.
Hosting a drive, like you don't have to come to our storefront to.
There's people that are
totally
like kind of planted throughout the area.
And spread out. And I would say the other, thing that people can help with is identifying like that next place for us to be, like identifying that next area of need.
That was going to be my next question. Do you have long-term vision for like expanding or franchising, like Crayons to Cradle? Cradle to Crayons?
Yeah, I get asked to franchise like once a month.
Yeah.
Because people want to start. And I don't. And I give them my advice on what to do and like
and how to get
my
started.
Steps on how to get started. And people and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't I wouldn't put my name on something that I couldn't be in charge of.
However,
when I first started Bundles of Joy, like the goal was to just grow exponentially and like take over the the space.
Well, that's also entrepreneurship,
right?
Like
you have to think big.
You have to think big. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Yeah. And especially in a nonprofit. It's like we're going to change the world.
We have to change the world. And so
it's wonderful.
And so then
those aspirations.
I would say that in addition, I still love that idea, and there are organizations that are huge in doing this on a massive scale, and we're part of the Baby to Baby Network, which I don't know if you know what Baby to Baby is, but it's a huge organization, and they do what we do, but on a tremendous scale, and they have all this celebrity support and like endless funding.
That's
and now
how I know about them. From they have like an event every year, and every celebrity
a gala,
goes.
and like every celebrity, and they even manufacture their own diapers now. So like they're addressing this need on a totally different level, but they support us. So they send us like, in a couple weeks they're sending 17 pallets of essentials to us. Like that's incredible.
I didn't know they did stuff like that. That's really cool. That's so smart. Because it's like find those local people that are doing it.
And they do emergency response as well. So like they're now out of the space of like helping one-to-one, which is like what we do, right?
Okay.
So when I'm thinking and I'm like, but do I want to do like that is really so far removed. From the ground
interactions.
And that's the part I love.
Yeah. Right.
So like, I want to grow bigger for sure.
Yeah.
I want to reach more. That's always the goal.
Yeah.
But I still want to be able to remain who we are. Because that's what sets us apart. From, treating people like numbers.
Yeah. Right. I know. I mean, we feel similarly with Dudley Stevens. It's like, we love being this like small business, family founded, I don't know, like kind of niche, like there's something about that we love.
Because you lose so much of your identity. That's a lot of who you are.
Yes. And I think we talked about this in one of our other episodes that like sometimes bigger is not always better.
No.
And these smaller things are like just so wonderful. And that's what we love. And to recognize that and know that is like just steps beyond, I think.
I'm glad I recognize it before pushing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then you get to a place where you shouldn't exist.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And
like,
you feel uncomfortable.
I'm no longer even part of this organization.
It's
like it's become something else.
It transformed into something else.
Exactly.
And if I ever want to do that, I can go work for Baby to Baby.
Right.
Yes.
They would probably hire you. They'd probably buy you out or like acquire you. I don't know how that works in the nonprofit world.
But use my storefront.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think that bigger is not better. And I feel like what you're saying that inspires you, like knowing that is so beneficial.
It totally fills my bucket. Like I have to have that.
Yeah. Yes.
Part
of your
brand.
motherhood journey, the brand, everything. Yeah. It's all related. So obviously working mom, Khaki and I talked in one of the episodes about balance and how we just are balancing everything is impossible. But what are some things you do, like, and it can be very broad strokes, like with 3 children, running this amazing organization, people working with you, volunteers coming in and out, like that's a lot to juggle. So what are things that like keep you sane throughout the day?
Yes. Okay. So I play tennis a lot.
Amazing.
I love tennis. And tennis is like so
good
cathartic
for us. And
so cathartic. It checks a lot of boxes for me. Yeah. Like it's social.
Get your cardio, social.
I get exercise.
I feel like they keep saying too, it's good for
get to be competitive.
Like,
It has strategy in it. Like it checks a lot of the boxes that I need. So like it's really fulfilling to me.
Amazing.
I reject the idea of balance. I think that's what actually makes me happiest is I'm like, balance is not something that men wake up and think about every day, do they?
No.
I want to have a balanced day.
No,
absolutely not. So like I'm
so true.
I reject that idea.
Yeah.
And I instead try to think about like, what are my priorities?
Yes.
Like, and by that, like, what makes me happy? Like, how will I achieve the goals that I want to achieve?
Yep.
And what are the priorities for my family?
Yep.
And if something comes my way that, is thrown at me that is not part of the priority list, I drop it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just drop. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, you don't feel
it's
guilty
like the power
about
of
that.
No, and like all those things that like Oprah and everyone says.
That doesn't matter to me. Like, that's not a priority for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
and then
so
you'll
good.
never stray from like who you are and what makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly.
There's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, it's so true. I know, especially with the, all of our children and everything. And they're getting older.
They're getting older.
I don't know. I feel like recently I've looked around and thought, well, so my son is 8, my daughter's 7, and 7 to 8 years they're going to be driving.
Oh, gosh.
So like I'm halfway through this like driving crazy kids raising. Obviously you're still raising them, but like, I don't know. That means there's not that much time left.
No, but then I think about like, well, I'm, 40 and I'm still clinging on to my parents.
Yeah,
like I totally disagree in a sense too.
I mean, the same could be said for Khaki and I.
They need you so much in their adulthood.
Yeah,
and like,
they do.
So,
no, you're right. You're right.
So
yes.
no.
Yeah. There's a lot of time.
They're still your children forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, it's so true. I know. So we all have to prioritize. I love that. I think that's the message. Prioritize. So something I should have said at the beginning, but we should talk about now. The reason Adrienne and I are here today is to speak about our fleece turtleneck in the Bundles of Joy beautiful green color that we just dropped this week. And 20% of all sales of this color, and we have children's versions also. Elle, my daughter's loves it. She's been wearing it like every day.
Paige is wearing it today to school.
She's just off of pink now. So any type of
blue,
green, like she wants that. It's the new pink for these girls.
Yes.
So I brought it home and she was like, oh, this is the exact color I wanted. I was like, oh, good. Perfect. Elle is like all over it. Anyway, so 20% of the proceeds of all sales of our Bundles of Joy Green are going to Adrienne and her organization. So mainly while we are here today, but also to spotlight you and your business because you've been such a supporter of ours too since 2017, since you launched and since we launched in 2015, and we're just so happy to support you. I love being able to give back. Yeah. I know Khaki was really sad she couldn't be here, but yeah, we just love always giving back and supporting and. This was always kind of in our minds to do this together, I think. Like,
this has been a dream of mine forever.
Because we've done like just your logo on a navy or whatever. And then it was like, wait, no, we need to do the color. Like, let's get this done and do the color. Yeah. So go and pick one up. It's also perfect for spring. I feel like this color for like January through March.
Right?
Like all of a sudden I get out of New Year's, Christmas, and all I want to do is not wear red, green, brown. I want to wear
neutral.
I want to wear a pastel-y bright color.
But it's still chilly.
And it's still cold. So this color will live on through January through March. So we highly recommend picking one up, and you can shop for a cause and give back to such a wonderful organization that now we know all about.
Please do. And then when we see you, we'll be like, good job.
Yes, thumbs up. Yeah. I love seeing that out in the wild. But anyway, this has been so fun. I feel
Thank you, Lauren.
Is there anything else that we want to touch on or discuss? I think we checked all the boxes of everything that I wanted to make sure to ask you. And I'll just repeat, or tell me again where everyone can find you and your storefront and everything.
Sure. The storefront's in Bronxville. So we're 52 Pondfield Road West. And that's the heart of the operation. So you can drop off donations there. You can volunteer there to make bundles and sort through our items. And then follow us on Instagram and look at our website. That's where we have all the good stuff.
And all the info. Yeah. And you know what? Actually, we are doing a kind of like a sample sale, warehouse sale right before Christmas in our showroom. And we'll put a box for that during that sample sale. Khaki and I already talked about it, so we're just going to do that.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
So anyway, if local Greenwich moms, ladies that want to donate anything for Bundles of Joy and Shop Dudley Stevens, we'll have that there and we can work the details out of it later.
That's terrific.
But,
I love it.
But as you said, like winter, it's also the holidays. Like I feel like donations now probably are most needed.
People are so generous too this time of year.
Yeah. Totally. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, check out the collab on our site. Alrighty. Bye, guys.